Horizon just wants to breaks, and this is why didn't the Netherlands gain territory after World War II by the channel History Matters. Many gained land from the Axis occupiers in World War II, the Dutch did not, so why? Wait a minute, many gained? Who gained land? Because if I remember correctly, any kind of reparations, basically Allied thought that that's not the best approach, right? Because they did that in World War One, and that basically created enough of a depression in a way in Germany that it saw the rise of Nazism in a way, right? So basically they didn't want to continue that mistake, if I remember correctly. So they didn't put much reparation element to it, right? At least the main powers. I'm pretty sure some of the smaller countries that got screwed over the most kind of got the land. I guess that's what you're talking about there. Because Netherlands is one of the, Holland, right? It was called, I guess. It was one of the, countries that, third of so Jewish population got, was sent to a concentration camp. And it was basically a really horrible scenario all around. So, why didn't Netherlands gain any territory? That doesn't make sense. Since it borders Germany and it was one of the big victims of it, right? So I don't know. After World War II, if I remember correctly, it was like Poland, right? Poland, who was in the in the side, obviously losing side, lost territory, while winning sides, whoever was most of the victims kind of gained the land, smaller countries. But Poland is the one country, if I remember correctly, was part of the winning side, but got gained a lot of land at one side, but lost also the other side. But overall, it kind of lost the land than it started out with before the World Wars. So even after winning, Poland got screwed. Poland history, one thing I'm realizing, right, for centuries back, Poland gets screwed a lot. Even during the Catherine's time, basically people just try to swallow Poland all the time. Even after winning, right, Poland still didn't get the land that it had to begin with. Kind of lost it, right? It was smaller than it started out with, which is kind of fucked up. So let's watch it. Remember, we'll flag my Rickson. Don't forget to subscribe. So I know which type of videos to react to more. Check out the Rick Sunday. There's a link in the description. I did quite a few History Matters video already and other history videos from other channels. There's a playlist too, I guess, history playlist. I don't know when I updated that, but there's a many history video reactions there if you haven't seen it. So let's watch this one.
Axis borders were redrawn, often as compensation for occupation. Yugoslavia got this from Italy, Poland got this from Germany, and the USSR gained all of this. One nation which had also pushed
back up.
Poland got this from Germany.
Yeah, but it lost too, right, Poland?
Yugoslavia got this from Italy, Poland got this from Germany, and the USSR gained all of this.
The USSR gained all of this. This is fucked up.
One nation which had also pushed to gain land from Germany was the Netherlands, which asked to be given all of these lands in 1949. As you'll guess, they got very little. They didn't get nothing, they were in fact given this tiny bit of land here, most of which they soon sold back to Germany in the 1960s. But given how badly damaged the Netherlands was by the Second World War, why weren't they given more land? So, after Germany was defeated, many countries wanted compensation from their occupiers. The Netherlands was no different, and their demands were simple. Give us cash, lots of it. Unfortunately for them, the great powers had agreed at the Yalta Conference that there would be no financial reparations. Mostly because of what had happened last time that Germany was forced to pay such reparations. And for the Dutch, this meant...
That's a great chat, look at that.
Mostly because of what had happened last time that
Germany starts a world war, Germany loses a world war, Germany has to pay reparation, Germany elects some vengeful, obviously, because Germany is poor now, and Germany starts a world war again.
He was forced to pay such reparations. And for the Dutch, this meant that the only way that they could get something out of Germany was by annexing land. The proposals were simple: take as much as we can and kick out all of the Germans who live there. Internally, the Dutch government had hoped to be given all of this, which included Cologne as well as important historical cities like Aachen and Münster. There were a few in the government that even pushed for the annexation of lands around Dortmund and Hamburg, but this was seen as unreasonable. So what happened when they put these ideas to the Allied powers? They were laughed out of the room by all except France. This was because France was also pushing for a somewhat dismembered Germany. As such, Plan B, the Dutch reduced their claims to this.
So every great power, like, okay, let's not mess around this time. And France, like, fuck that, right? Still that Napoleon blood going through there, right? We want land. We want more land, that's it.
The answer was also no, and they came back with the third offer of only taking this. It won't shock you to know that the Allies rejected this as well. And by Allies, I mean mostly the
Stop,
British.
you're killing
You
me.
see, these
It's
lands were in
hilarious.
the British zone of occupation, and given that East Germany had been divided amongst the Eastern Bloc, it had many refugees. These refugees needed food and housing, which was difficult to build. The Dutch plan to annex these lands and kick out all of the Germans living there would have meant millions more refugees and less places to house them. Yet for the Dutch, the removal of the Germans from the Netherlands was seen as vital to national security, because it meant that Germany would have less grounds to retake these lands in the future. The Dutch were pretty angry about this, since it looked like they were going to get nothing, which would make the government look pretty weak. However, the Allies did opt to give some bits of land on the border here to the Dutch as a form of placation.
Obviously, how things are going right now, how conflict is going right now, and certain people are projecting that Russia can basically, just use one of the excuses that certain Russians in certain places, are oppressed or might get oppressed, and that would be enough justification to invade another country. Yeah, that whole scenario that they thought of, like, okay, keeping Germans there while we take the land might give Germans excuse in the future to invade us again. It's not that far-fetched, is it? Because that scenario kind of makes sense after seeing how things are playing out right now.
It was occupied in mid-1949, and just short of a decade later the West German government came knocking. Many in the Dutch government wanted to keep the lands out of principle, but a good working relationship with the new democratic Germany was seen as valuable. And also, perhaps the Netherlands could use the land to trade for some of the cash that they had wanted previously. In the end, it was agreed that Germany would pay roughly $80 million for the return of the lands. Well, most of it. The Netherlands kept a tiny bit of land for itself, whilst the rest was transferred back to West Germany in 1963. Meaning, after World War II, the Dutch did get some territorial concessions from Germany, just not very much. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Wait, how many?
Some territorial concessions from Germany, just not.
Literally 0.01 kilometer per second. Damn. Is that even... I mean, when we talk about nations, right? That bit of a land, do you even consider that anything? 0.01 kilometer per square. That's a fucked up. All right.
Not very much. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and a special thanks to my patrons, James Bizanet, Jung Gustavsky, Alex Schwitt.
Yep, so there we go. Yeah, it kind of made sense what I thought at the beginning, that, most nations, unlike France, didn't want any representative land. Well, France like, screw that, I want more land. I want to take more of Germany, right? Which is, I didn't know that. That's a surprising element there. But yeah, basically everybody was scared that World War II might as well lead to World War III. I mean, Germany, formerly known as Prussia, I guess. Prussia was such a big power military-wise, right? The saying that some philosopher says that, Prussian military has a government or something like that, which implies that every single civilian in their blood, flows through military and combat mentality, I guess. So is it, is that so far-fetched that after Germany was formed, which has most of Prussia in it, after Germany is formed, Germany was formidable in World War I. In the whole one side, where there was Germany, Austria wasn't even doing that much, while Germany was the only side from there that was doing all the heavy lifting. Is that really surprising? And then after that, after the heavy reparations, what happened to Germany and how Germany collapsed economically, Germany rose up, and what happened with World War II. So it's not that far-fetched to think that people are actually scared, like, let's not push Germany over the edge again. So let's not do the reparation and shit like that. But yeah. Right, well, that was Why in the Netherlands gained territory after World War II by the channel History Matters. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next time.